Hello, Retroburn here, part 10 of our Let's Play Battletech, and in this episode we're going to begin tackling the level Cruinne. Cruinne sounds very something that belongs in, I don't know, medieval fantasy. So anyway, very excited about this one because we are now officially in the resource management phase of the game instead of just, wheeling at any mechs. So we have several, this is a new UI and this is very new for me as I'm playing this one blind. We have orbit transit, jump ship, these cannot be clicked, I think. While orbiting a planet, you may hire and fire crew, purchase items, and accept contracts. Travel between planets and jump points can take many days at a comfortable 1 to 1.5 e acceleration. So this signifies that we are at the jump point. Interstellar travel can only happen in relatively flat parts of space-time. Ooh, fancy. Jump ships stay at these jump points, carrying slower than light drop ships one system to another. Okay, so the dropships are those balloon-like thingamagics that we saw in, I think that was in episode 3, where we were escorting Princess Kamea Arano. We have financial report, 29 days, but so she's going to be in action. She's going to get well in 19 days, and the next financial report will be in 29. I'm not too sure, but I think that's like in XCOM, so it's showing when we can expect this character to be able to fight again and when to expect the next financial reports. We're not clicking on that. We'll just tackle the rest of these before clicking on anything. So we have a normal rating for our finances. Your operating costs due at each financial report. The pips indicate the number of months you can stay afloat. Okay, so theoretically you can still lose in this game, I think. So this may be what is equivalent to XCOM's what was the name of that gauge? The apocalypse meter? I can't quite remember. Should your funds ever hit zero, your company will fail entirely and cease operations. So yep, that's a game over in Battletech terms. So morale, we have, okay, so not just Lance morale, we also have company morale. The overall morale of your crew and Mechwarriors out of a maximum possible 50 points. Morale is carried over into battle. Okay, so this is still the same thing, where you can use it to trigger special actions to increase your Mechwarriors' effectiveness. Morale can be raised by more lavish spending on salaries and luxuries, as well as by constructing recreational upgrades. Ooh, awesome! Be careful, if your morale is too low, you may encounter negative events. Okay, so there are events in this game. Okay, cool. Awesome. So maybe it's not too good an idea to waste, precision shots. And what's that other ability? Vigilance. When we know that it eats into our morale and that the same morale bar in the combat UI is still the same one that represents our company morale, so that's one thing we have to keep in mind too. What is mech tech? Tech points. Tech points are generated each day and spent to repair or customize battle mechs. Tech points only apply to one mech task at a time, so additional tasks are queued to be worked on next. Okay, that's mildly confusing. Medical points are generated each day and spent to heal injured Mechwarriors. Medical points apply to all injured Mechwarriors simultaneously. So how can we spend these? Or does the game does that for us? Current location on ship. Okay, so I'm guessing that if we click on these, a red symbol will glow. Week 1, day 2. Timeline paused. So I think this will be the last because, signing up for contracts will, I think, begin a mission. So part 10 will be all about exploring this UI, and then when combat begins, we're going to cut it short, save right there, and then proceed on to part 11 of this Let's Play. But in the meantime, we're going to explore this user interface right here. So we have finances of 980 C-bills. So C-bills are the currency of the Battletech universe. That much I remember from those handful of games I played in 1997 with my friends. Okay, Mech Bay, navigation, storm map. That's Sumir. I think that's the Chinese woman. Yeah, that's her, all right. So I think we'll go to the barracks and see how our Mechwarriors are doing. Let's do this first. Okay, so here's another UI. 4/8 berths. Your ship has only limited capacity to accommodate employed Mechwarriors. The maximum number of berths can be increased by purchasing certain ship upgrades. Keep that in mind. So you can have a maximum of 8 Mechwarriors lounging here in the barracks. Okay, so this is our character. First name John, call sign Retterburn, last name Hirano. Maximum injuries is 3, but he's fit as a horse at the moment. Mechwarriors can only take being shaken around in their cockpits for so long before eventually becoming incapacitated on the battlefield. A Mechwarrior's maximum health value shows how many cockpit hits, knockdowns, or other catastrophic damage events their mech can take before they're down for the count and possibly dead. So does that mean that if the game says incapacitated pilot, it's not 100% that the pilot is dead? So maybe there's a chance. I don't know how that mechanic works, or if it even exists. 900 XP. So we have 2,600. So we can increase this, right? I think the mistake we made was oh yeah, it's not a mistake because there's a sensor lock thing. Select a target within sensor range, reveal it until the end of the current round, remove. Okay, so given that Retterburn's mech has direct fire, so I think he'll be the medium mech scout of the group, and then he can do a sensor lock for us. If we take this one, it's going to cost us 1,600 XP, so that's going to leave us with 1,000, and then maybe yeah, sure, I think we'll take this one because, you know, increasing levels here doesn't confer anything in the way of, you know, these milestone thingamajigs. It's just going to increase, you know, confer these to us. +5 base melee hit, +7.5% base weapon hit. So yeah, we'll purchase this one, and then we'll confirm. Okay, you may only have 2 primary abilities and 1 specialist ability, and Mechwarriors cannot be retrained. Yeah, sure.
Training complete.
Okay. So the next would be... We're not too interested in melee combat, because this is our main character. We don't want him in the front lines. Oh, but it does confer benefits in the survivability department. So that's one thing to keep in mind too. Oh, awesome. Yeah. So if you want to be as slippery as, you know, what's a wet frog, I think it's better to, But yeah, the game did warn us that, you can only have 1 primary ability. So does that mean that we cannot take other cornerstone abilities like these too? I have no idea. Like I said, I'm playing blind. We have 900 XP. Multi-targeting. Attacks with a single ignore. Okay, this is very offensive right here. The offensive abilities, I mean. What about this one? Okay, so this is the tank path. Oh. Awesome. It's also very awesome. But I'm more interested in this one. Although, of course, this game is all about hitting enemies, so I think we'll invest points in the tactics and have gunnery as our secondary ability. So we'll click on this one, and that will give us a plus 7.5% base weapon hit, methinks. So yeah, let's do that. Confirming.
Mechwarrior training complete.
That is one awesome voice. Hey, Decker.
Yes, Commander.
Can have... Yeah, I think he's going to be another sensor lock guy, because he's a scout. There's really no point in, you know... Yep, because he's a scout, so he should be the one doing sensor locks. 2 primary abilities. Okay, so that answers my question. We can have 2 primary abilities, so I think we can get 2 cornerstone abilities in our roster for each character. Like for example, we chose this one, but I think you can still take one of these 3, right? I think that's what I think. 400 XP, so he can afford any other improvement. Wait, we forgot to click on the service record. Okay, so there are.
Yes, Commander.
Service records. Okay, deployments 1, injuries taken 0, mech kills 0. We didn't kill anything with this character. Other kills 2. What does that mean? Vehicles? Yeah, I think vehicles. Kurita ancestry. Okay. I don't know how these will figure into the game. Or maybe it's just lore. I have no idea. Or maybe this has, you know, really a direct impact on how we do combats. Like I said, I have no idea. Anyway, reading this one. Decades ago, your family came to the Oregon Reach from the Draconis Combine. Mechwarriors who hail from the Combine tend to be fierce, disciplined, and relentless fighters. Oh, we've read this already in the character creation screen. Yeah. We've read all of that already when we created this character.
Waiting for orders.
So we'll go to Behemoth, who has 800 XP. What is this? She already has this one. Recoil penalty. So there are no bonuses if we click on... Oh, okay. Yeah, it's blank. So clicking on this one does nothing. So we're not going to level her up. We'll just wait for, I don't know, maybe gunnery. Yep, because she's piloting a very powerful mech. So she's a spacer, a criminal. She's in the military, or was. Okay, she's brave. She belongs to the inner sphere, and she's a Lyran. Deployments 1, injuries taken, mech kills 3, other kills, days with company 1. Okay, so oh, these guys are costing us money. Fire everyone! So reading this one, Miranda Aguilera grew up in the Lyran Commonwealth. She was a tall kid who made a name for herself as the girl you don't mess with. At 18, she signed up with a small-time mercenary company to feed her growing wanderlust. Miranda went undefeated in her crew's drinking games, and in the brawling that usually followed. When her fellow mercenaries turned to piracy, she was in. When they turned over a new leaf, she was out and looking for a tougher crew. Okay. That's one thing to keep in mind. Very interesting character right there.
I hear ya.
A glitch. Is multi-targeting already, right? Yep. 800 XP. This bulwark. Should we? Plus 5% base melee hit. I'm not too interested in the melee thing, but these two are very much needed in the sense that they increase your mech pilot survivability. Although, if we do save enough XP, we can have this plus 12.5% base weapon hit later in the game. So that's one thing to keep in mind too. Decisions. Should we? Wait, where are the stats for each of these? Oh, there you go. She has 5. Wait, of course, these are the stats. Sorry about that. She only has 2 piloting. So does that mean that she'll be more base sprint distance? Okay, so it affects base sprint distance. Yeah, I think we need to improve this one. Okay, let's do that. Let's invest 1 point here.
Training complete.
There you go. And we can't buy any more. And who is this? Medusa. Okay, so it's a new recruit. He has 3 gunnery, 4 piloting.
For orders.
To do this, extra evasive charge. To die. 6 500 base melee. I think we'll just invest in gunnery because I'm not too comfortable with having a lance. Sorry about that, some vehicle just passed by and it was making a ruckus, so I had to cut that one out. So yeah, gunnery. We'll take gunnery for this guy. Never mind the cornerstone ability right here. Do you want to hit? This game is all about, you know, firing on enemy battle mechs. They're more comfortable with a force that can, you know, hit their targets rather than having these fancy cornerstone abilities right here. You'll buy 1 bit.
Training complete.
Okay, so I think that's the
What do you need?
Oh wait, he has quite a pool of XP. Forgot about that one. Tactics. I think we'll save it for this one, but wait. If I click on this one, if I invest in guts, does that mean that it will increase his? No, I don't think so. So yeah, we'll save this XP pool for, you know, getting one of these cornerstone abilities right here. So we won't be expending these in the meantime.
Yes, Commander.
Waiting.
Orders?
What can I do for you? Receiving you.
The same vehicle just passed by twice. Unbelievable. Okay, so after the barracks, we'll go to we'll leave this for last. Also the contract thing. So maybe we can talk to Darius. Do that.
What do you need?
Always good to see you at Ops, John. Can I do something for you? Okay, there are 4 choices. Yeah, this one is the more interesting. Sure thing, Retterburn. I'd be happy to help. What do you need to know? Okay, there are tutorials. Awesome. Yeah, I think this is the more important ones. It's pretty simple, really. Every 30 days, we have to pay the crew and cover our regular operating expenses. Upkeep for the mechs. We have already... For the mechs we have ready in our mech base. Upgrades to our equipment, things like that. So if we don't have enough sea bills to cover our operating costs at the end of the month when our financial report comes due, we're out of business. Merc life doesn't allow for second chances. Remember that when you're ordering weapon refits and ship upgrades, and make sure to reserve enough to cover our monthly nut. Okay, so there are 3 options. This is the more important one. Well, for starters, consider putting the mechs you don't plan to field for a while into storage. Although it will require time and CBOs to refit their equipment and ready them for combat, stored mechs have no upkeep costs. By the way, remember that you can sell mech chassis and equipment if you're ever low on cash or you see something shiny in a store that you've just gotta have. Okay, the next thing is, I'm sure that this is obvious, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. How can I raise the operating costs of our company? Obviously, the more Mechwarriors we hire, the more we've gotta pay out each month. Nevertheless, it's a good idea to have a strong bench. You never know when someone's gonna take one in the meat and be out of action for a while. Okay, so we'll go through all of these, because you know, knowledge is power. Guard it well. Outfits like ours depend on the Mercenary Review Board to post certified contracts ranking for reliable employers. I say reliable, but let's face it, John, most jobs come down to us doing the work that the rich and powerful can be seen doing. Mercenaries are deniable assets. What intel will we get about a contract before I accept it? Most employers will give us enough info to understand who we're fighting and why. Some are cagier than others, but by and large, they want us to succeed. Because of this, we generally get enough intel to get the job done. It isn't a perfect system, but it works well enough. There are a few key things to look for in a contract. First, you need to understand what type of mission it is. Next, you should take account of the climate conditions in the area of operation. Finally, it's more important to know the expected strength of the opposing force, or OPFOR. Vital, even. Okay. Tell me about the types of mission we may be offered. In my experience, most contracts come down to one or more of a few basic ideas. Blowing something up, taking someone down, keeping something safe, or making a mess with heavy ordnance. There'll be variations here and there, sure, but for the most part, our jobs are gonna fit into one of those categories. Giant bipedal weapon platforms aren't exactly known for their subtlety. That's a good one. Tell me about climate conditions. If you're not watching the climate conditions, you're not in full command of the battlefield. In most environments, you've got to watch your Mechwarriors' weapon fire and jump jet use so they don't overheat their battle mechs. Badlands and deserts make your mechs run hotter, so you're gonna want to pay careful attention when you're fighting there. Low atmosphere, non-terraformed planets are worse. It'd be wise to swap out some energy weapons for ballistic weapons in those environments, or pack on some extra heat sinks. But the vacuum of lunar environments is the worst. It's counterintuitive, I know. Space is cold, right? But no atmosphere means basically no heat dispersion, and you're sitting on top of a fusion reactor. Use your jump jet sparingly, or you'll be shut down in no time. Tell me about mission difficulty. It's important to have an idea of what you'll be up against once your lance hits the ground. Fortunately, mercenaries are often on the ass end of mission intel, and the most you'll usually get is a rating of the enemy's overall strength. At best, a mission's difficulty rating will give us an idea of our post-mission repair builds and med bay time, or a signal that we should avoid the mission altogether until we can bring bigger guns. What? I'm gonna read that one again. Okay. 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 Let's go back a second. Hey, can I withdraw from a contract? Absolutely. That's the great thing about being a merc. It is an hour fight. We're here to make money, not die for a cause. You can back out of contract negotiations at any time with no harm done. But once we deploy into a battlefield, it gets a little trickier. If things start going sideways during a mission, you can still withdraw to save in repair builds and med bay time, but it may still cost us. If we withdraw before achieving any objectives and destroying at least one enemy, the Mercenary Review Board will rule it a bad faith withdrawal. Not only will we not get paid, we won't get any battlefield salvage either. Plus, our reputation will suffer, both with our employer and with the MRB. Now, if we withdraw after achieving an objective and destroying at least one enemy, so that's an and, it's not an and or, then the board will rule it a good faith withdrawal. Our pay will still be reduced, but our reputation won't take a hit, and that's important for a business. Okay, the game is really very deep, given that there are all these nuances that we have to keep in mind. That's pretty awesome depth for a turn-based strategy game. So tell me about reputation. Our mercenaries' outfit reputation determines the quality of the contracts we're offered, the quality of the mech warriors willing to hire on with us, and the deals we get on weapons, mechs, and equipment in local stores. Most employers won't offer us the really juicy contracts until we've proven ourselves over time. But once our rep is solid, we'll get access to some high-paying gigs with opportunities for some serious battlefield salvage. Now, this is obvious, but we need to ask this. Why is salvage so important? If sea bills are like blood, salvage is like food for a mercenary company, or something like that. I don't really do analogies. Let's just leave it at salvage is good. Here's why. Salvage lets you replace components you've lost or upgrade your mechs to better suit your combat tactics. And if you don't end up needing the salvage you get, you can always sell it off at the nearest store. Salvage rights are our time-honored tradition in the mercenary trade, and figuring out who gets what at the end of an engagement is a vital part of our business. Okay, can't we not scroll? Oh, there we go. How do I negotiate a contract? Mercenary contract negotiation is pretty straightforward out here in the periphery. It's all based on the golden triangle: sea bills, salvage, and reputation. Sea bills are the coin of the realm, so to speak. We use sea bills to pay for travel expenses, upkeep on our ship, salaries for our crew, and repairs or refits for our mechs. Sea bills keep us flying. Salvage is part of our take 2. The more salvage we take off the battlefield, the fewer sea bills are deposited in our account. The fewer sea bills we ask for, the more salvage we can get. Okay. Now, you may want to take less money and less salvage in order to increase our reputation with the party offering the contract. Yeah, it'll cost us now, but the investment could really pay off later down the road. Okay, so there's... You can opt to get lesser... less money and less salvage in exchange for rep. That's new. Let's talk about my Mechwarriors. Sure, what do you want to know? How much do I need to worry about their morale? Mercenaries aren't like members of the Royal Guard, Redburn. They're in it for the paycheck, not for loyalty to some noble house. Because of this, keeping their spirits up is important. Mechwarriors with high morale get inspired more often on the battlefield. Their heads are in the game, and inspired Mechwarriors can create opportunities. I've seen inspired Mechwarriors make precision strikes, sorry about that, I thought were impossible, focusing their fire at one location and speeding enemy as if it were standing still on a shooting range 25 yards away while wearing a sign that said "Shoot me" in neon green. Inspired Mechwarriors show amazing vigilance too. They seem to have an uncanny ability to blunt incoming damage and have heightened reflexes, so they act faster in the battlefield. Amazing stuff. What sort of control do I have over their training? Mechwarriors gain experience in every mission they complete. You can chart their training and guide their development in 4 skills: gunnery, piloting, guns, and tactics. As they become stronger in a particular skill, your Mechwarriors gain access to special abilities that can be used in combat. The first ability is the Mechwarrior specialization. Mechwarriors can have only 2 specializations total, So pay attention when you're training them. The first two they acquire are the only two they'll have. Okay, so that answers a lot of questions we had in the XP UI. The second ability is the Mechwarriors Expertise. Mechwarriors get only one of those, and it has to be from one of their specializations. Whichever expertise they learn first is the only one they'll have. So I think that's going to be the second row of cornerstone abilities. So you can only choose one from those, I think. So 3 abilities total per Mechwarrior. That's a lot of possible combinations. You'll need to decide for yourself which abilities work best according to your command style. Do more experienced Mechwarriors require higher salaries? Oh man. Wouldn't you? As Mechwarriors grow in skill and abilities, their salaries will grow with them. I'll ask you about something else. Is there an... okay. Things happen on a mercenary ship, John. All the time. You throw a bunch of mech jockeys in a confined space with technicians and crew for months on end, you're gonna see more spillover from the battlefield. And operating a merc outfit isn't a glamorous lifestyle. There are hard choices to be made on a regular basis. Anything from breaking up a fight over petty bullshit to dealing with faulty power couplings. Okay, I think that's the end for our conversation with Darius right here. That's enough instructions for one day, Darius. Thanks. Okay, so there are more. I want to know more about our debt situation. Yeah, sure, that's fair. And I'm glad you're taking an interest. I've got time to get into the nuts and bolts of it if you do. What did you want to know? Remind me why you took out so many loans in the first place. How much time have you got? I mean, we've been hit with 1,000 expenses since we were forced to flee Cruinne. But I guess you're mostly interested in the big ticket items. Well, first and foremost, there's the Leopard. We still owe a lot of money in the ship, and losing her isn't an option. Then you've got all the assorted fallout from our impromptu trip across the frontier. Jump ship passage, docking fees, miscellaneous travel expenses, all paid for on credit, as if we had a choice. There's more that I could get into. The loan we took out to set up Markham's family, etc., etc. But that'd be gliding the lily at this point. The fact is, we're in a lot of trouble with a lot of lenders. But hey, we're mercenaries. We live for trouble. Who are you in debt to exactly? I want names. How about I give you the top 3? First, you've got Blue Horizon. This is a big commercial bank on Lyriton. Lyriton. They're the ones that own the lease on this ship. Then there's the Indri Consortium. They've got people everywhere, but they're based somewhere in Marek space. We borrowed from one of their associates to make the jump away from Cruinne on the day of the coup. Finally, you've got Lacone Landing. They're a frontier outfit from Haster, and they're about as crooked as they come. Now, I wouldn't normally do business with an outfit like the Double L, but we didn't have a choice. They made a deal with Blue Horizon to buy half of our debts. So that's the big 3, a commercial bank, a shadowy financial consortium, and a bunch of leg breakers in cheap suits. And each of them is dangerous in its own way. That's enough money talk for now. Let me ask you about something else. Got a few minutes to chat? I'd like to catch up. Yeah, sure, we've got time to talk. Before any of this started, you worked with the Arana Royal Guard. Tell me about it. It was more than just a deployment. It was a full campaign. High Lord Tamati gave us a job back in 19. We were supposed to be assisting the Royal Guard to round up and eliminate a pirate clan on Fiad... how do you pronounce that? Fialdir? Commander Markham thought it'd be easy money. It turned out to be anything but. We lost a dozen Mechwarriors in the 3 months of the Fialdir campaign. Had to hose them out of their cockpits. Whoa. Would have been more if it wasn't for Sir Raju. He saved our peoples on more than one occasion. Went out of his way to do it. And the thing is, he didn't have to. We weren't under his protection. We were the hired help. A lot of people in Mastiff's position would have used us as cannon fodder, but that wasn't his way. He treated us as if we were his own. He was a good man, John, as good as they come. Tell me a bit about yourself, Darius. Where are you from? I grew up on Nassau Heights. It's one of the HAB stations orbiting our 30 decks of economic stratification, with the corporate suits on the upper decks and everyone else crammed into the lower ones. My old man was a dock hand. We lived on deck 28, 2 levels up from the bottom, with the other station maintenance personnel. 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, my dad would load and unload cargo shuttles, vacuum-sealed Killar and nutrient paste for people like us, and luxury goods for the suits upstairs. The old man must have unloaded 1,000 cases of what's that? Casilden? Eelro. Plump, succulent eggs the size of melon balls. Never got to taste any though. Any of those in tins would have cost him half a year's wages. Anyway, John, I don't want to saddle you with my life story. Suffice it to say that I got an eyeful of what I did not want to be in Nassau Heights. And I did what I had to do to change my circumstances, and by the age of 16, I struck out on my own. I left the station with a handful of skills, an enormous web of contacts, and a rucksack full of that expensive caviar. And once I made it off Nassau Heights, I never, ever looked back. Oh man, what about his dad? I'd like to talk about something else. Okay, gotta run, Darius. Okay, so it seems that each of these NPCs have a lot to tell us.
You know where to find me.
So I think opening the other NPC UIs like Yang here and Sumir, that would cost us a huge amount of time. So I think we're going to cut part 10 here and just divvy all the rest of the episodes into the Yang, Sumir, and what is this? Yeah, the Yang and Sumir sections before we're going to go through all these other parts of the ship. Okay, so if you like this series, guys, please like and subscribe. This has been Retroburn. Stay cool, stay frosty.